Welcome to the locker room. Oh, I did the thing here.
You did okay?
I said okay. Welcome to the locker room. That was a self-discovery that I did not need.
Yeah.
I realized every time I introduce this podcast, I say, okay, welcome to the locker room. And I said it 3 times now, which is totally okay. But I'm your host,
Number 4.
Jason. This is your second host.
This is us. Yes, me, Nas. We're here to talk more about the locker room and the things, the discussions, the conversations, and all of the topics that are of interest.
Yep. Uncaffeinated and creative.
Yeah.
Take that.
First thing in the morning.
We still need to figure out a better intro, but we have music.
We do have music now.
I haven't put it in yet, but it's kind of awkward silence. But there is music. You guys will hear, but that's okay. Anyways, today we are going to chat about our intention that we set a little bit earlier, which was kind of how role modeling and masculinity kind of interplay each other. Like the intersection between those two, where we as individuals learn vicariously through the models around us and through our lives, and the small things that we pick up, whether it's good things or bad things, and how that plays into our development, our growth, our mindset, how we set up a growth mindset, and where that sets us up for the future.
Yes, all of those things. That is a very, very, very nice way to put it all.
That was a good intro, eh?
Yes.
Hey, there we go.
It's put together very well. That's probably about as professional as it's going to sound for me. It wasn't from me. It's definitely not going to sound that professional for me. Because I think, like I said, with the intention earlier in the week, grade for mine, we'll go down the road now, but shit. Still shit. We're going to go into the details of that, but it still is. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see by the end of it if opinions change, but it'll probably stay shit. That's okay. And the biggest thing is we grow from our past and we learn from our past, so we figure out how to set our future up for success. And that's where we're starting with, is kind of rehash. Where do you think role modeling fits in with masculinity?
I think it's super important. Like, honestly, okay, so, analogy.
Okay.
Before I even get to it, that's where we get any idea of what we want to do, how we're going to be, consciously and subconsciously. Like, the people that we have around us, we pick up, like you said, all the little nuances, the little feelings, the little pauses, the little everything. Like, we pick up on that as children. So that even if consciously we have a model that we know intellectually it's working, like, it's no good. I want, we might grow up and be like, I want to be nothing like that person, right? Like, that might be our conscious thought. But if we spent a lot of time around it, we've still subconsciously picked up moments, habits, thoughts, feelings, like thoughts, impressions on the world, right? Even if there's a self-hate or low self-worth, we usually pick that up some way subconsciously too. So we pick those things up. So there's still parts of us that still carry that forward. The analogy part is, it's like a Three Little Pigs analogy. Right? That's I feel like it's, again, this kind of goes back to the house it's been, right?
Okay.
We're supposed to be a house.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know if you've heard this one before. Maybe.
The house or Three Little Pigs?
Three Little Pigs.
We talked about it.
Okay. Anyway,
we've talked about it a lot.
Maybe one day.
So, again,
like this Three Little Pigs thing, it's like 3 different styles of houses, right? There's a straw house, wood house, brick house, right? As man, we are a house, brick house. You know it. Mighty. But so we hand the materials down to the next person. So even if you consciously want to, you have skyscraper ideals, and say you can have a steel house, right? We have skyscraper ideals as a person. You're like, okay, I want to build this life for myself. I want to build a skyscraper. If all you've been handed and all you know is straw, let's say your other knows it's a straw house, you can't hold much. You can try to build that skyscraper as much as you want, but all you have is straw. Eventually it's going to fold. You're going to feel like you're hitting a brick wall because you don't understand why you're not able to build what you want out of your life because you're been handed straw and don't realize it. So in order to, and then if you want a brick style house, you can go a little higher, but you have to get around people. If you did not have somebody who was building with bricks, who had that capability, then you have to get around other people who are building with bricks. You have to understand what it is to have bricks. And that's where that modeling comes forward. You have to realize, number one, shit, I want a better life, but I only got a straw to deal with. So as much as high, it doesn't matter how high I want to build, straw can only hold up so much. It's going to collapse every time. I have to get around people who have brick habits or steel habits, right? And I have to be able to get around those people and see what that's like and understand that. And again, look for more modeling, even as an adult. And that's where I found I had to be. So I found as an adult, I had to find more modeling from other people that had what I had or what I wanted or had gone through things that I've gone through similar. So I know what it, other mindsets, other mentalities, other things that I can pick up from. I can get other points of view because, for me, I look back, I was given straw. I had to realize, but that's one thing too. You have to realize that about yourself. It's like, okay, I want to change things, but what I've been given is going to be, am I going to be able to build what I want with this? And if not, then like, no, I can't. Then all right, I got to go look for it somewhere else.
Well,
yeah.
Oh no. Since I checked out, but I always think of it as this is kind of more of the counseling side of things, but we kind of call it like resource development, right? And we think about resources usually by physical objects or very physical beings, entities, right? You feed a kid food, you give them playtime, you nurture them by giving them sleep, whatever it may be, food, fuel, and fire, whatever. Take that, food, fuel, and fire, I like that. But there's another form of resource, which is your emotional resource capabilities, right? And those are the skills that usually, if you don't develop them young, they're quite hard to obtain as you get older. And it's not necessarily because any kind of neural development or anything like that. It is a little bit of that. But mostly, it's that when we're young, that vicarious experience plays such a massive role in development of who you are, right? Your role models around you. It's very natural to just watch your parent do something and you absorb those skills through that, right? As we get older, we get more experiences elsewhere. It diversifies, it expands. And at a certain point, we have a conscious decision of where we want to pick up those things.
Right.
Right. So at a certain point, we forget the power of vicarious experiences, right? Living and understanding through others.
Right.
And as adults, I find that is the biggest driving force for change is by viewing and empathizing with, say, your role models around you, rather than rejecting, say, caste development or their ideologies. Picking up some ideas and kind of general archetypes from your role models is so important. Wow. My girl blows my mind. Where was it going there? Yeah. Oh, I remember where this goes that way. It is so early in the morning, by the way. I was supposed to take caffeine pills. Or like, not caffeine. Metabolic support caffeine things. Great for you. Did not take. So, we're gone. Zooted, I think the kids say these days. Anyways, like I was saying, as we get older, role modeling has a little bit of a shift, right? But it's something that you can focus on and grow upon. And the biggest thing is as we get older as well, those resources that are given to us by others, we have a tendency to reject them for our own experiences, stuff that we've developed before. And it's usually unconscious, right? Someone, the example is, you try learning something when you're older, usually you'll either relate to yourself or you reject it because it goes against who you are. We talked about it a little bit.
100%.
You know, you're like,
No, I was just wanted to say that because even so, going around like finding those role models later, or finding those people that are like say brick tendencies, like we were talking about before, steel tendencies. That's a big part of actually getting in there and actually accepting that process is hard because again, it is rejection of all that you know, and then understanding that okay, what I know
might be wrong.
Is like I said, you have to realize like what I know is straw house shit.
Yeah.
Like it, so I have to, even though it seems like nah, this isn't right to me. This isn't, this isn't the truth. Like it could be something that felt as true as the sky is blue, but at the end of the day, it's not. I have to accept this other thing and trust that maybe I'm wrong, right? Maybe what I've believed this whole time, my whole experience, it's just completely wrong, and I have to accept this other thing, and that is much harder to do. So I say personal experience. That is much harder to do later in life, but necessary. Okay.
Yeah. Right? So like we can kind of relate to this and kind of sum up everything we talk about with this line is role modeling is the foundation to growth mindset.
Yeah.
If you don't have people who've been through the mud, been through there, who have that next level up to share with your knowledge, you won't ever be able to expand your own.
Right.
You have to learn elsewhere, outside of yourself, to pull it back in.
You do. And trust me, I mean, sometimes the shit is hard. I mean,
it's always hard, you know?
I mean, it is. Well, like I say, later in life, it's hard, man, because you got people, luckily in my life, I've been able to run into certain people who have been mentors for me that have been able to help me expand that thought process beyond what I had. And again, I'm just finding I rejected what I had personally, and it's like, all right, well, I'm trying to figure it out on my own or figure out what I thought. And there's little things that just come up. And like I said, if you run into other people, they might just point it out, like, nah, that's stupid, which I heard plenty of times. I'm like, nah, it works this way. I'm like,
sometimes brutal honesty is so nice.
Like, nah, that's dumb.
Yeah. Why are you doing that? Do better.
What is the things you pick up? I think, anybody who's watched Talladega Nights. It's like if you're not first, you're last. Yeah. And then he talks to him at the end of the day. He's like, Dad. And he's like, you're first, you're last. He's like, what does that mean? He's talking to his dad who taught him that. That's what he held on to his whole life, right? And then he was like, he was like, that's dumb. There's second, third, fourth, hell, there's even fifth, right? And he was like, I lived my whole life by that, though, right? Because he had been holding on to that as a kid. And at the end of the day, we hold on to these little things that might be damaging, right? But we don't realize it. It's thought processes that the people before us were holding on to. And they kind of passed it down. Whether they said it out loud or not, we picked up on it. And even though we might not realize that these are drivers of a lot of our behaviors, even though our thought process, our conscious thought process might be completely different, our subconscious drivers are still kind of pushing the same behaviors because we're still picking up on these little things that we didn't even realize we did. And then you find out when you say it out loud with other people who are more in line with where you want to be or more where you're trying to grow to, they'll let you know quickly.
We talked about this yesterday, actually, on the side. It was not recorded, so.
Yeah.
No proof of us actually talking about it. But we did.
It did happen.
It was super weird. We're literally talking about it. It's a whole lot. But we talked about this, and I like to frame it as kind of those maladaptive processes that we've gone from surviving. And that's what really ends up going down towards is our bodies are really, really good at surviving. They'll protect you. They'll do everything it can to protect you, including developing walls or mental blocks or physical adaptations. It could be anything, right? But we're really, really good at surviving, especially when it comes to behaviors, cognitive processes. Our body develops so many survival instincts, say repressing emotions, repressing like anger to high extents, sadness to low extents, happiness to high extents, right? because it just wants to maintain itself and figure out what it's doing. Okay. But sometimes when we are trying to develop us further, we're trying to get out of that survival mindset. Right? We're trying to get into a thriving mindset where we can grow and push that page forward a little bit. Right? So we want to get out of that survival state, but we can't identify what is a survival adaptation versus thriving. Right? So when we look at it, and just using emotional vulnerability is a big one, right? And this is what we talked about the other day was growing up for myself was amazing. Yeah, it's going to get deep now. This is where we're starting to dig that hole, get it. But kind of growing up myself was interesting, right? I grew up, I'd say not quite a very traditional Asian household, but emotions were always by the wayside. We're always like, don't cry, hold it in. Make sure that you provide security for others first. Then, when you have a chance, you can let a little bit of emotion out. Not a lot, just a little. Protect others first. I came to realize, as I got older, by holding in my emotions, I wasn't protecting anyone. I wasn't protecting shit.
No.
Yeah. It just made other people worry way more because I was stonewalled.
Right.
And I still do that. Is if I get sad, angry, whatever, instead of expressing my emotions, even just it's like, hey, I'm feeling this emotion, stonewall. That's it. I feel okay. I'm fine. Terrible. Do not recommend.
No.
Right?
No.
But that was a survival instinct, right? That I learned through seeing my male figures in my life stonewall.
Right.
They say a big one was kind of as people age, like they're moved away, stuff like that. But at the funeral, all the guys, my single team. My dad had a massive effect on pretty much everyone in my household. He's not a single tear. But everyone's like, don't cry. Roll it in. Deal with that later. Be here for everyone else. Same thing for funerals, same thing for age, go on. And it wasn't until very recently that as we talked about those harder moments of life, actually like thinking about the amazing impact that my grandpa had on my dad, me, my brothers, everything like that, we realized, hey, like, it's okay to cry.
Right.
We don't need to survive a death or a grieving period, but we can just let those emotions be, right? And that was kind of a big shift from survivability to thriving for our family.
Right.
And there's a point of connection for us. So let me pose this question to poise. That's what I'm going to
Poise.
It doesn't sound like a word right now.
Yeah.
Let me give you a question here, because I
pose this question to you.
Pose
right
this
now.
question.
Yeah.
Oh man, so early. Let me pose this question to you: is what is a time that you found a survival adaptation in your life? You kind of clicked into it one time. Choose one.
Just one.
Choose one.
Lord.
Where you found that survival instinct and transitioned it into a thriving behavior.
Well, vulnerability as a whole, like I remember like that one being a big one that I had to really address, especially emotional vulnerability, but any type of vulnerability. Honestly, pain as a whole, I just didn't acknowledge it or I wasn't allowed to feel it. Same thing, right? Like, well, mine came from, I don't know.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Exactly.
Okay.
No, mine came from like a household. Like I think we were volatile. My dad, he was pretty volatile emotionally, but he also kind of he would get into his own thought process and just go into his own world and kind of separate himself from any type of joy or anything like that. It's like he wouldn't allow himself to feel it. But also, he took a lot of, I guess, anger for his life and stuff out on me and us and the family, right? And me. And so at some point during that, I know I had decided it. I tried to appeal to him emotionally. It was a physical thing, and then I tried, and he kind of laughed at me. Um, and at that point, I remember deciding that I wasn't going to let anybody I wasn't no longer going to let anybody feel like see me be vulnerable or need anything or beg anybody to, acknowledge my pain or hurt or what felt like begging. And I was like, nobody was going to see it. So that was a big thing that I had to come to terms with later on. Because again, I found myself when I'm trying to understand these emotions or feel these things that I keep them to myself. I've always been like that. Well, and it started when I was a kid. People used to always ask me like, what's wrong? Everything was to myself. Right? Same thing. Part of acknowledging that, actually, initially acknowledging that came with later on in life, the amount of things that piled up that I tried to hold to the side just became too much, and I was emotionally very volatile, kind of carrying on the same habit that my father did, and I had to go to, so when I was in the Navy, I had to go to anger management 3 times. That's when I realized that I've been holding on to a lot. I had to deal with that through therapy and counseling, dealing with looking back on all these things that I wanted to, that I hadn't expressed, that I had held on to, and how holding on to those things had such a negative effect on my life. Like I said, bucket was, I always talk about it, like I walked around my bucket emotionally full. There was nothing left. So anytime an emotion or a drop kind of it overflowed. All these emotions, pain, hurt came out, and it just kind of splashed and got projected onto everybody else. And so I had to deal with that. And then as I dealt with that, and later on in life, I don't know if anybody went and looked at the TED Talk or whatever that I talked about, but I talked about dealing with these emotions on a regular basis in everyday life, having to acknowledge them, when it comes to just realizing that even as movies, like I think you talked about before, like movies, how quickly that it takes me like 20 minutes after I've blinked back tears to realize that I even blinked back tears, that I just stopped myself from crying, and how ingrained that habit was. I talked about before, like even when I'm in physical pain or anything like that, the lack of, I have to catch myself as if I'm not conscious of it. If anybody tries to care for me or acknowledge that pain, I will snap at them. As a reflex, reactively, I will snap at them and kind of be like, no, I'm fine, leave me alone. Like, I almost get mad at you for acknowledging my pain because I'm not allowed to feel it. I've got this habit of not allowing myself to feel it, not allowing people to see it. And if you do see it, it's like, I don't know. But people like, I can't know. Like, it's not there. It doesn't exist.
Dare you.
Like, exactly. Do not point at it. It's not there. It doesn't exist. And so those are big habits that I've had to, and even to this day, it's habitual. But what I do with that information afterwards is the key. Like, I might, in a moment of weakness, not be able to catch myself initially reacting to that person reaching out. But afterwards, I have to be able to say, you know what? That's me. I apologize. I didn't mean to snap at you. That's just me being, crazy. Some of the habits, but thank you. Thank you for reaching out and actually trying to, then I can double back and like, okay, yeah, this is what's happening. And sharing that pain, that shit's hard, man. But especially when you're just so used to not. Like, and that seems like the easier path to not, but honestly, and it is, but in the grand scheme of things, it's the harder thing to do because it's the more damaging path, I should say. It causes more damage, and to that connection, to go back full circle, it's that connection that a lot of us men don't feel we have with the people around us. A lot of that is the key to it. It's being able to open that door, be vulnerable, allow people to see that so that they can support us, stand up for us, and help us. And then we actually feel that connection with them and that understanding that they are here for us. We can feel fully supported and fully connected. And that was a big key for me because it kind of opened the door like, oh, as close as I thought I got with people around me.
Very surface level.
It was very surface level, no matter how close we were. It was still the deepest of the surface,
Yeah.
you know? And it wasn't until that point that I realized, like, oh man, like it goes way deeper. And then even just being connected to people, period. You know, I'm sticking to one, leave it at one. But I was just saying, I have a habit of just not letting people in, period. Like, that's the thing. A lot of people, like, I get very close to people, and it seems like I share a lot of vulnerable things with people. But then once, like, everything comes out, like, I'll be with people for years. And then there's just, oh. And then I'll find out some information. Like, I never knew that about you. It's like, how did I not know? We hang out, like, every day. It's like, yeah, I'm very good at hanging around people and not sharing everything, but seeming like I'm sharing everything. That's a habit I also picked up. Modeling, male modeling from my father. He was very good at that. I just got really good at that subconsciously. So I try not to.
You have your, oh, excuse me.
Uh-oh.
Well, that was a little phlegmy. You have, that's gross. But you have, you have your layers, right? And it goes back to the layers. Shrek is literally everything. It's the best movie ever created. It is everything. But, like, I was going to say Shrek. But everything boils down to layers, right? You peel back a little bit, and you're willing to go down, so maybe one level down, but not quite that deep. Like, you may be able to get 2 layers down, but then by that, you hit that wall by the 3rd one, right? And that's completely developing a protective barrier, right? Boundaries are great. You can set a lot of different type of boundaries, but when you are trying to develop those deeper relationships, those interconnected relationships, emotions and vulnerability allow us to break those walls, right? And get a little bit further. But we have to kind of train and build habits and develop how we express those emotions in order to get down to those deeper levels.
And you got to do it in a way that puts you in a position to hurt. That's the thing. Yeah. Because, like, that's the hard part. You can get to a place where you're comfortable sharing what people feel are vulnerable stories, but you're still walled off and protected. Yeah. Well, so it seems like you're being vulnerable.
This is the thing. It's vulnerable to them because that's how they process it.
Yeah.
It's not vulnerable to you.
Exactly.
And you're not going to change if it isn't vulnerable to you.
It has to put you in a place where you feel uncomfortable, you feel vulnerable sharing, you feel open sharing. And that, it's like, I always say, like, people test, it's like you can't stay in the cave. No. If your cave is your safe spot, you can't stay in the cave and test the out. Like, you know, what people tend to do is they look from the safety of the cave, look outside, they might stick a toe out there and be like, oh, no. And like, I stuck my toe out. It's like, no, you have to, in order to enjoy the sunshine, the rest of the world, the environment that can bring you joy and pain, but also joy, you have to go out there and you have to jump all the way out.
Your toes don't have eyeballs. You can't see the sun.
You have to expose yourself.
That sun was nice on that big toe for like 2 seconds.
Exactly.
That's kind of weird.
And that's it. And then you get this, you can be like, I stuck my toe out. And at the end of the day, it's like, but there's a little danger. You might lose a toe, but you have to pull yourself out there because if you want big results, then you have to go into, you have to put yourself in a position of kind of big vulnerability, big pain, big possibilities, right? And you can't expect the world to not find this and talk to you. That's what happens, right? They're like, it's always this, I want you to show me it's safe before I step out, right? And that's when we talk about leading conversations that way. Well, look, I'll show you it's safe because I'll step out first. But sometimes when we're trying to lead conversations, we want this from other people. We're scared to step out fully and expose ourselves, but I want you to do it in order for me to do it. Or I want you to show me all the things that make me safe. Again, it's this strategy that we've developed from childhood, this survival strategy. Show me it's completely safe, that nothing possible could happen to me, and then I'll give you the world. Then I'll show you all of me. But that'll never be the case if you're not willing to step out there. That'll never be safe enough. And then we get stuck in this position. People do it in relationships. People do it, especially in relationships.
That's a big one.
Yeah, right? Like, you've got to be willing. And that's what I find that a lot of men don't. This whole argument now I'm going inside. This whole argument when people say, like, what do you bring to the table and all this shit and all these things that men. I hate that, right? Like, this dating stuff, like, it's crazy. It's like, oh, women will do this. But we're supposed to step out. You're supposed to step out. It's so what? You're strong enough to take a little bit of pain. And I'm not saying that, put yourself through torture purposely. But if you want something, if you're looking for somebody for you, or that is going to connect to you and be there for you and have this perfect compliment to you or whatever, then you have to put yourself out there. You can't do this from the safety of your home and that's where all this internet shit, that's where all this Tinder and all this stuff.
Oh, it's terrible.
Because it's like, I can just sit in the safety of my home. I don't have to put myself out there anymore.
But then you
and
show
hope that somebody shows me what I need.
You put down your cards, but they're all just very basic information points. There's nothing deep or vulnerable. And that probably won't happen until after, I don't know which direction it's like. I've never listened. But whatever direction you connect but it's kind of like you completely negate a relationship's vulnerability.
Yeah.
You kind of cut it open so that you can develop a very unvulnerable, non-intimate relationship. Like it's pushing that lack of intimacy forward. Right?
And if you want something from people, you have to be able to step out and go get it. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Like having these conversations sometimes, and it's just like, I want this from the person. I want them to show me this. I want them to show me that. But it's like, what do you do? What are you
willing to do?
What are you willing to do? Because you can't, if you walk into it and you expect okay, I'm going to hold all my cards close to my chest, but I want them to show me all theirs. Mm-hmm. And then I'll show them mine.
That's not meeting halfway.
No, that's not show them. Because at the end of the day, it's easy. It's easy. And I've done it. You get into the survival mode, you hold on to information, you hope that it'll be safe first before you share everything. You realize it's not going to be that. And that's the easiest way to do, but it may never be safe.
No.
And at the end of the day, all you're doing is trying to control how the hurt may come or if the hurt may come. And that's an old survival tactic. At the end of the day, it's going to hurt if it's going to hurt. It's going to be fine if it's going to be fine. If you try to protect yourself from pain, then you also protect yourself from joy. There are two sides from hurt. They're on two sides of the same coin. Both sides, so in order to step out and fully feel the joy or the happiness for people, you have to expose yourself. And if you protect yourself from you protect yourself from both. And in order to have that true connection with somebody, you have to, and maybe they'll show you that they're not the one. That's fine. It may hurt, but it's easy, it's simple, it's quick, it gets it out of the way, and then you move on. And you move on. But this whole, you gotta show me it's safe first. We're not even meant for that. We're not even supposed to be that.
Well, bringing it back to the house analogy, right, is the whole thing is we are the shell and the protective barrier for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And our emotional vulnerability, we talked about this before, in our in-person locker room, is our emotional vulnerability is that fence around it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If we are not able to open that fence, open that gate, it turns into a very big brick wall.
Yeah.
Right? And getting brick wall sucks. Run into it, it hurts like hell.
Exactly.
But the big thing is if you block off all emotions, no one's going to be able to get in. No one's going to be able to get out.
Right.
But also, you block off all opportunity to feel any kind of emotion, right? And that's something we both struggle with. It's not just you're blocking off the pain or the suffering and the sadness.
Right.
You're blocking off the joy, the compassion, the relationships that develop through those good emotions too.
Yeah.
It's a hard filter, right? It's that hard. It's not a semi-permanent boundary. Very weird. It's not a semi-permanent boundary. It is a very hard wall.
Yep.
Fully secured. Nothing's getting in around. Right. But if you're trying to build that relationship, say with someone through Tinder or whatnot, the biggest thing is we have to build a gate into that fence. Our emotional vulnerability can be open and closed.
Right.
Totally okay, right? We want to make it into a semi-permanent boundary where we have an option in certain circumstances to open that and show it to someone that we want to build that relationship with.
Right.
Right. For us, I want to build a relationship with my lovely one. So I have it's working very hard on being able to open that fence, right? And to say, hey, right now, I feel sad. I'm okay with this pain because, if I share this with you, we'll figure a way out together.
Right.
And this is a kind of like conversation topic we always go back to, is vulnerability is not weakness. And it doesn't lead to people rejecting your intimacy, right? It's a way of growth. It's a way of getting strength through others and connecting through others for ourselves to grow together.
Right.
So a relationship is a partnership at its finest term. Doesn't matter what kind of relationship, like friends, him, with my wife, with anyone, a relationship is a partnership.
Right.
It's an avenue where that vulnerability, emotional freedom is allowed to thrive and grow and develop further.
Yeah.
It's compound. Starts off real shit. You're gonna feel terrible. But as time grows, as you are getting more aware, able to open that fence down a little bit, more information, more ideas and stuff that you can come in, grows fast.
Yes. 100%. Like it's the key to it all. Even just for stuff like vulnerability is so necessary for relationships, but even in growth, right? Like in order to grow in any aspect of your life, you have to first admit that you need growth or that you fall short, which is vulnerability in itself. And if you want help from anybody, you have to be able to admit that. And you have to be able, but that's the key to growth. The moment you step out and you admit that, it seems like weakness, but it seems like you're admitting that something's wrong with you at the end of the day. But in order for it to grow, in order for anybody to step in and be like, let me help you, in order for that to become a strength, you have to first accept that it's a weakness. Mm-hmm. And that's hard to do, but a lot of these ideas, men who want to be leaders in our households, of our communities, of things like that, like that's where it starts. You know what I mean? Like people can remember the person who knew it all, and they'll be like, that's a great person. But usually when people look back on the person that has an effect on their life in some way, shape, or form, they exemplified some type of vulnerability or willingness to learn, willingness to be open, willingness to be there, willingness to share themselves with others. If any connection in reality I personally believe doesn't become real until there's moments of vulnerability. Usually that's why you have, if you think back on it, that's why you have those relationships with people. It's like, oh, it wasn't until we got into a fight or something like this that we became best friends forever. But it wasn't until things went bad that we became, because up until that point, probably it was just a surface level. We like each other. Yeah. Everything's great until...
Great deal, folks. Yeah.
You know, until the cards hit the table. And when the cards hit the table, everything went out. Now you have some people who fell off. And you'd be like, oh, we were great until this happened, and then we never talked again. And you have some people who made it through the other side. And when you make it through the other side of that, guaranteed, if you think of your best friends, those are probably the people, something happened, and you made it through the other side. And then it's like, oh, that's a real person. They've seen me. They've seen me and the parts of me that I keep from everybody else.
That growth from adversity is such a big driving factor for all of us.
Yeah.
It's something that I talk a lot about because one I said in the first episode was one way that helped me heal was through cinema and kind of media in general, right? And you think of those characters as archetypes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, because...
Okay.
No, I don't mean to...
Okay. But,
I thought of something.
Yeah,
It sparked a thought.
I talk a lot about comic books and movies, and a big one that I always go back to is Superman, right? Superman and Batman. Two really big characters. Everyone kind of knows who they are. Superman, the representation of like hope and justice, freedom, and Batman, night creature, vengeance, all that jazz, right? But the big thing is, in those stories, if you think of them as this kind of nebulous idea, you can't humanize them, right? They're just ideas that are ever flowing, right? And it isn't until these authors, these comic book artists, they humanize these characters that we can relate to them.
Right.
Right. For Superman, big one, Death Superman. Right. He's always been invincible, like unable to be killed.
Right.
Crazy. Doomsday comes, beats the loving shit out of him. He dies, big quotations there. But it isn't until we see the after effects of that, right? The story that gets put into play when he's getting beaten up and getting put through hell on earth, right? Where he's expressing his emotions and his ideas of like, oh, I'm gonna miss Lois Lane, and the sadness and anger and frustration, right? Those cracks in that invincible man, right? When those start appearing, we're like, hey, we can relate to this guy.
Right.
And that's such a big driving force for the modern day Superman story of, hey, this might be a nebulous entity who can destroy the world by just sneezing, right? But at the end of the day, he's still a man. He's still someone we can connect to because he goes through shit. Right? He has those emotions, that sadness, that anger. Same thing with Batman, right? Is he becomes fear and anger, aggression, but it isn't until he picks up an orphan kid and dresses him up like a clown, like little Robin, where you have a story of a man who's healing from trauma and sadness and loneliness, right? And you can see this across all media, not just comic books and those characters, but through movies, explicitly through movies, and so much so in movies where characters have to go through real struggle in order for us to relate to them. And that's what the directors push.
Yeah.
But it's a dangerous territory when you start looking at your role models the same way as archetypes, right? Because they become these representations of what they represent. And you have to think of them with their frailties in line too, right? And same way with yourself, right? You can't think of yourself as an archetype, getting represented by sadness, or in some cases, happiness or anger, right? You have to think of yourself with your weaknesses in mind, and not necessarily focus on the weaknesses, but use them as growing matters, right? Growing points where, hey, I know I'm difficult on the emotional side. I know that's my weakness. I'm not an archetype. I am going to spend some time to put aside so to grow from that survival.
Right. Yeah. And 100%, man. Like, you have to take that time. Okay, so what's on my mind now? What's left in my head? Because I'm going to get just because I don't watch Naruto.
Oh, you got me there. Okay.
So
okay.
I saw this thing online actually, and it was just like some psychologist. I don't know, but it was like Instagram, so I don't know the validity of it at all. If this was actually a study or not, I didn't research it, but it was saying that they studied like Naruto or anime versus, but they use specifically Naruto, like versus
watch along,
like American fairy tales or animated stuff. And or westernized, and they were like the value of the anime versus that, and they were pointing out the points, like whereas like a lot of the westernized is like wish for somebody to come save me, that type of thing. The anime in Naruto is like it's more through adversity, like growing through adversity. Yeah. You're not going to save, but if I put in enough work, then I can go ahead and become rather than the savior. And it's those things like, oh, I defeat the evil. And now the world's over. I killed the dragon. Now everything's saved. And it's like, well, that one is like more in balance with your shadow self. The evil is a part of you, but it doesn't have to be the end all be all. And it's defeating that person within yourself or carrying that person with you is like, and how valuable that is for building resilience in people and exemplifying resilience and how we have to live this earth versus like,
man, you know what I like. I watch a lot of Naruto. If you guys see me on the gym floor, I'm usually wearing some kind of Naruto clothing. So that was just like, ooh, that was like, but yeah, I watch a lot of diverse media as well. So do watch a lot of anime there. And exactly that is, there's a really big focus, and it's actually part of the Japanese culture, is growth through adversity.
Right.
And with Naruto specifically, there's one character, his name's Pain, kind of a hardcore character, but pretty much what he is a traumatized war victim, a little kid raised during wartime, and he starts seeing the world quite dramatically as it's like sinful creation where the only way to grow stronger is through pain, right? Oh, this is hardcore. But then lead character Naruto comes in and says, you can grow through adversity, but you have to acknowledge that it is.
Right.
Like, what did that do to you? What does this healing process do to you? And you can see this across all this show. It's like thousands of episodes. Ridiculous. But pretty much he is not necessarily, his whole drive is he's always been the weakest ninja in the academy. This is so silly. But he's always been the weakest ninja. But it wasn't through like just talent that he got to where he was. He becomes the strongest through hardship, the loss of his family, the loss of his role models, the loss of everything, right? But it wasn't necessarily that he overcorrect. He's always had the ability to potentially become a villain, right? And can only focus on the pain and the hurt, right? But he drives in that, hey, this hurts right now. I'm going to grow from this though and learn from this. And kind of going back to this Pain character is kind of the mirror image of he's been through similar things. He's hurt. He's seen the world burn, but he's focused on that pain and has built that massive wall around himself. In the show, actually, it's quite silly. Yeah. He's in this kind of mechanical thing because he's pretty much sacrificed his body so much to eliminate all human emotion and all human contact because he wants to wipe off the humanity pretty much. But he actually gets built into this little like fake tree thing. It sounds really silly. Sounds really silly. You brought up this topic, by the way. Go ahead. But he's pretty much walled himself out of society. Right? He uses surrogates to go around and do his bidding, but he has completely removed himself. He's built this wall and the fence around him so that no one can get in. And it's a really big driving force that Naruto, when he finds this guy, has to break through this wall to get deeper and understand him, right? He also, first and foremost, opens up his vulnerability to let Pain share. And it turns out this guy's name is not actually Pain, it's Nagato. But it takes an individual who's been through suffering or has had information, knowledge to open their fences first, right? In order to allow someone else to say, hey, it's safe to reach out. It's safe to get into the sunlight, like cave analogy, right? It's okay to step out of my safe zone so I can heal a little bit. Really big dramatic ending. Guy sacrificed himself. Oh, he sacrificed himself. Crying. But at the end of the day, Pain
sacrificed himself.
He sacrificed himself. Saved everyone. Amazing.
To save everyone?
Crying.
Yeah.
I remember watching this when I was like, I don't know, 12. Last month. So, and in tears every time. Just weeping.
But that's, I say this, that sounds like lovely analysis there.
Yeah, thank you. I just fully stemmed out.
That was great.
That was like a hard.
What I heard, even go through that, is like, that is the perfect example of what we're talking about in the first place, is modeling. It takes somebody who's been through, this is the example of how to be that. Someone who's been through the pain, but is willing to step out and be vulnerable anyway, despite all of this, to show, because we can talk about this all day, but it takes someone doing it, being present, being there, being an example of that. This is the leader that we all want to be an example of that in order to bring somebody out of that, and also so they could see it, so they could model it, and therefore they can maybe transform themselves into something that would sacrifice for others. Because in order to sacrifice, you have to be willing to stand out there. And it might be a sacrifice, or it might just be people who follow behind you. But at the end of the day, that's being that leader. That's how we model. We are present, and we just share ourselves, right? And in that moment of presence, sharing ourselves, being vulnerable, we allow others to do the same. We allow others to experience, no matter how far off they go, because that walled off idea of pain and that idea of him being completely walled off and separated from others, that's how most of us walk around. It's been how we've been trained to walk around.
Oh my god, it just clicked.
Yeah.
After like 10 years of watching. Oh, that was so good. You wailed that pain around that emotionally.
Exactly.
Oh man.
That's how we've been built, right? We've been built to walk around like that.
To rewatch this and cry again.
So that's a perfect example there. Yeah. So, I don't want, but that sounds like a perfect example. That's how we're built to walk around with that pain. We hold on to it. We let that block us from the rest of the world. And it takes other leaders. It takes other people who have gone through that pain, but said, I'm not going to let this define me. I'm going to let this push me to grow, and I'm going to show others how to do the same. That takes vulnerability. That takes allowing yourself to share, become the model that maybe you didn't have.
Wow, what a good turnaround. To bring it back to kind of our first episode as well, and what masculinity means to us. Talk about that protector status. Talked about just being that leader, right? And at the end of the day, being a leader, being a protector, being a man, being masculine, truest way of expressing that is through vulnerability. Vulnerability is strength.
Yes,
right?
100%. It is.
I think that's a perfect place to end.
That's perfect. I like it.
Wow. Oh, man. You hit my nerd side. You hit my,
We got to see it all.
I'm going to watch Naruto after this.
Yeah, I might watch it now.
You should.
Well, that's a lot, but it's like 1,000 episodes. That's a big
most of it is filler episodes. So,
of course.
You can
I was a Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, right? You can
like
skip most of the
just
episodes.
yell.
Yeah, exactly. Power up. Welcome. That's episode 2 of Dragon Ball Z. It's a long time. But
next episode.
you can watch like the cut edited version. It condenses it, honestly, from this 1,000 episode thing to about 2 hours.
Oh.
Like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
But
I like that.
you should. It's really good.
Well, yeah.
Wait.
That's it.
That's it.
Thanks for joining us today. And, that's the locker room.
That's a lot. Where
life lessons are learned from anime.
that is true.
Actually, that's a very good. Life lessons could be learned everywhere, so let's not be close.
Well, we talked about
Anime's
anime.
a good place.
We talked about comic books. We talked about movies. Right? We'll probably talk more about all of them.
There's a lot of places if we're open to it. We just be open to learning. There's lessons everywhere.
Okay.
That's a better one.
You do this side note here. So, big thing that helped me with my emotional vulnerability is watching this media, right? And a lot of times, we're told to not really cry. But what helped me get my toes into the water about expressing my emotional vulnerability was when I was watching with someone just blew their nose, and that was so funny because you heard it completely on camera. But
Speaking
what
of
was I saying?
emotional vulnerability.
Oh, emotional vulnerability. Yeah. So I kept a little bit of a journal as I watched movies, shows, or maybe read books, and I just wrote down how I was feeling. That's kind of how I started. Right?
Yeah.
I acknowledged what emotions I had, and then I would build upon that, right? And eventually, after a few weeks of doing that, after a few months, it got to the point where I allowed myself to cry during really sad days. I had a triggering event, which I allowed myself to feel something, right? And when I was watching it with my lovely wife, I got to talk to her about why I'm feeling these emotions as well, right? She was my vulnerable anchor to help guide my acknowledgement through vulnerability. If you don't have it, it's okay. But have a journal, watch some movies, enjoy that media, and grow from it.
Yeah. Grow. Continue to grow and be open.
Yeah.
All right.
The locker
Locker room. There we go.
where we open doors, open fences, and grow vertically and stiffly. Nope.
No.
Okay. Okay. On that note, we're going to cut it out here.
Yeah. See
We're
you
good.
guys next time.
See you next time. Bye. Oh, that was a way to end the show. We grow vertically and stiffly.